Hello and welcome to our program, Where God Weeps, a program where we talk about the situation of the suffering church around the world. Today we're going to be speaking about the suffering of the Iraqi people, a suffering which cries out to heaven, consequence of violence, extreme violence perpetrated on them by ISIS, a fundamentalist jihadist group which seeks to carve out a caliphate ranging across Syria and Iraq. To tell us more about the situation in Iraq today and the suffering of the Christians living there, it is my great privilege to welcome His Beatitude Louis Rafael Sako, the Chaldean Catholic Patriarch of Iraq. Welcome, Your Beatitude, and thank you for being with us here today on our program.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure really to speak about the situation in Iraq, especially the situation of Christians there.
Your Beatitude, many are even confused by the word caliphate. Can you tell us, what does caliphate mean?
Caliphate is an Islamic state. I mean, the policy and religions are mixed. And according to the Islamic law, the rules, the canons are implemented. And the caliph is the supreme authority in Islam, as it was, in the beginning with the Umayyad and Abbasid and with Ottoman. And today, some groups are looking for an Islamic state.
Is Islam in a crisis? Is, in fact, what we are seeing, Islam in a crisis?
Islam is in a crisis because, Muslim brothers failed in Egypt and also in other countries. And they have to update religion. I think the solution is to separate religion from the state. Religion is based on stable principles, and policy is looking for interest. In the politics there are no friends and enemies. But in religion it means, the truth, and it's stable. So they have to understand. In the beginning, maybe in Islam, it was a need, to unify the tribes with an ideology and a political system. But today, impossible. They have to learn from the experience of Christians in the Middle Ages, and also now there is no Christian state today.
I want to come back again to the question of ISIS in Iraq. Who or what is ISIS? Or perhaps better said, who is ISIS?
I think ISIS is a mixed group. It's Sunni, and they have an ideology, and they are looking to live Islam radically as it was in the 7th century, because they think the regimes are corrupted, in the region, in the area, and also the West is exploiting the oil and richness, and
also probably morally corrupt. I suppose.
Also no moral, no faith. They think also Christianity has failed in the West, so they are a little bit, afraid to lose their identity. Therefore, they are aggressive, but regressive also in the same time, to keep their identity, Islamic identity, tradition, and also laws.
The division of Iraq. This seems to be, as we've seen locally as well, the autonomy for the Kurds, now the Sunni who are seeking autonomy and regional autonomy. And here in the West, we start to hear murmurs and conversations and thoughts about the division of Iraq into three parts. What is your feeling about this?
You know, one century ago, there was Sako to divide the Ottoman Empire in countries, in states, and there was a plan to divide, But now maybe they are looking. I think there's a plan to a new Sako in other way, They started in Iraq when, after the collapse of the old regime, the regime was secular. And now everything is confessional, sectarian. And little by little, there are, wars between Shi'i, Sunni, and Kurds. Kurdistan is like a state. They have their own budget, their own army, their own also cabinet, the ministers.
And it's very wealthy as well.
Yeah, also. And Sunni, they are looking for that. The Shi'i have also their airports and many provinces, cities, and they have their own militias. And there is a struggle, yes. I think personally, psychologically and geographically, Iraq is divided. Kurdistan is,
already
autonomous, and now the Sunni provinces are not controlled by the central government,
So de facto, they're on their own.
De facto, Iraq is divided. Now what we need, maybe there is a solution, should be a political solution, not military solution. And security is linked with the political solution. Maybe the international community should help Iraqi politicians to sit together and also to dialogue, to save the unity of the country, or even to make a federation without war, without fighting. Because really killing people, innocent people, destroying, cities and infrastructure. Since 3 weeks in the villages, Christian villages, they don't have water and they don't have electricity. But also 2 million of refugees. Majority are Muslims, from Fallujah, Anbar, and also Tikrit and Mosul. It's a disaster.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
You yourself, you have been campaigning to keep a unified Iraq. This is, I think, the Catholic Church is one of the few institutions that is still campaigning for a unified Iraq. Why? Why, if there's a political trend and even reflection in this direction, what is it that you see that a unified Iraq, what is the benefit of a unified Iraq?
It is the history, the Mesopotamia. Iraq is the old Mesopotamia, all the history, the heritage, also the historic coexistence between all groups. Iraq is formed in a mosaic way. So it is so beautiful, it is a richness, and it is not, an obstacle to live together in harmony. So I think when Iraq is divided, finished, there will be no more Iraq, and no more history will be interrupted, and it is really a pity. And for us Christians, we were in the south, we are in middle, in the center, in Baghdad, among Sunnis, Shiite, among Kurds, and we are there also to witness human values, but also our Christians' values. And really the Muslims appreciate our presence. And now, what will be happen?
What is my next question? Where will the Christians find their space in a divided Iraq?
I think now with that, many of them will leave the country, and they are looking to leave for good. And this is also for us a big loss, not for Christians, but also for the others, because given our qualification and our loyalty, and we are an elite there, and others will lose this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Impoverishment of the country.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this what's happening in Iraq also a danger for the West, and how?
Now the West is looking only for oil interest, material, nothing else. They are not looking for human rights. This is a big lie, because if they want democracy and freedom, they should educate people for that, help people for that, and to be close to them, to implement democracy and freedom, and also a modern state. But they are looking for that, and they don't care. They don't care for the population. Each day people are killed now in Iraq, Syria, Libya, Yemen, and Palestine, and also I think the security of Israel. They want to guarantee that. So I think this is the target or the purpose of the policy of the West, because we don't understand why they are changing all the regimes for another regime just like that, not better. What is happening now in Syria, in Libya, in Iraq? An anarchy. Iraq, it is a little bit better, but...
But you're right, it's anarchy.
Now it is confusing, but look in Libya and in Syria, even in Yemen.
There are some who might suggest, and this is a question as well, that there is a deliberate strategy to weaken these countries so that they will break down into regions, and as a consequence, regions will not threaten, for example, Western interests and or Israel.
Yeah, maybe that is the plan. Yeah, I think. In fact, that is the plan, to create little states, and to control them, and to be under their own control and
weak.
Weak,
and
of
weak.
course.
Are you disappointed by the West?
Yes. Because they didn't bring us democracy and freedom. Since 10 years we are in Iraq. Infrastructure, no. Corruption, no stability, and no future. And thousands of Iraqis left. Intellectuals and rich people left. Now, among Christians, also only the poor people remain, because they are incapable to live. They don't have money or that. Why?
Are you fearful for the future of Christianity in Iraq?
Yeah, I'm very worried. I still hope, but really hope is very fragile. And I think the West is selfish. Even Christians, they are, very weak. They are
weak in their faith, weak in their...
Well, they don't care. They are not strong enough to take a position, to be much more close, to say the truth, to help people to live, to also protect human life.
Where do we go from here? We've talked about this question of the political solution, of a dialogue. How do we keep the Christians? And in view of the weakness of the Christians in the West, at the same time, what are you calling of the Christians in the West?
I think first, Christians in the Middle East should be united. We are small churches, separate churches, then we are very weak. Very weak. First, I think the solutions should come from inside, but a Christian can also, help us and strengthen us to stay, to persevere, to stay, to hope, to witness. Because we are there, we bridge, and we know what Islam is. And there is we can really be a good instrument for Christian-Muslim dialogue, because we know the history much more, the language, and also the vocabulary, religious vocabulary, and we are not only academic like in the West. They are studying Islam in the schools, and it is a speculation, but
you're living it.
Yeah, there is a dialogue of life and also of neighborhood, but also we have a vocation to stay there. We have a mission. God has something behind our presence there, and I think there is, a plan, a divine plan, that Christians should stay and be there, just like light, salt, and.
How do you answer when you say Christians should stay? A young person who comes to you, a young family, and they say, "Your Beatitude, what do? We see no future for our children. Should we stay or should we go?"
The decision is personal, they are free. But we are also educating people that we are Christians. If we are Christian, we are saint. A church is always saint. The missionary dimension is very important. There is no church without mission. Maybe therefore the Oriental churches lost their dynamic evangelization, Now we have to go back, and there we are in the school, we are also in the work, we are in all over the country. We are, we have to witness our faith in a very, quiet way, without telling words, just like Saint Francis, to live, to give a model. I was in the plane, I was speaking to a Shiite, a young man, and he was asking me, why you are forgiving? Why Jesus forgave to the Jews? We have to, because who is forgiving is much more stronger from who is taking revenge. That is, distraction.
Yes.
He was stupefied, and this is very important. Also, to forgive, to look for peace, to be peacemaker and not troublemakers, and also to be loyal, faithful. I think everybody is saying that in Iraq, but also in the Middle East, that Christians are flowers in a garden. And I think we don't have to lose. This is a big sin that Christians leave for good this country, and then Muslim, what they will be after, because they are, at least they have something different from their own.
Yes. Your Beatitude, Pope Benedict XVI, upon your inauguration, and I quote, invited you and the Chaldean Church to remain a bridge to promote and strengthen the dialogue between Christians and Muslims, exactly what we've been speaking about. Did you ever envision this? And do you still understand this as your mission?
Yeah, I did. And we are always, preaching, and we are meeting Sunni and Shi'i. We are speaking about religion, about human rights, and also about the society. And last week, the Archbishop of Kirkuk went to help Muslim families, 500 families, to give them food and medicine. And an imam in the television said, "Oof, I wept when I saw Christians helping their Muslim brothers. This is humanity. This is religion, and this is very, very, very strong and very great." And after the attack on Fallujah and Anbar, I went with my auxiliary bishop to help 1,000 families, poor families, in the trains. And we are there really. We are living in truth. The incarnation, the charity, love.
You are the leaven in the bread. You are the yeast in the bread.
Yeah. No, I think they need us, and they are saying that. But also we have to look, to see the signs of time and to understand them, and to make some gestures and to be friendship, even in the policy. We are very strong. I visited 3 times the Prime Minister and also the President of the Parliament and other politicians. They appreciate our, proposal and the way to dialogue and look our nationalism.
Yes.
Yeah, this is very, very important.
Yes.
The church has something to do,
And
we are not even we are a small group, but I feel that we are so strong we can help. When Ramadi and Bari Fallujah have been attacked, some sheikhs of tribes asked that we need Christians as mediators.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How do you keep your hope? What spiritual sustenance allows you to keep your hope in such what would appear to be a black day for Iraq?
It is not easy. Sometimes we are upset, we are exhausted, but also, I studied history, Christian history, ancient history in Iraq, and also the church fathers. It was the same situation, our church was a martyr church, but always there was hope. As Tertullian said, the blood of the martyrs are
the seeds of faith.
Yeah, that's true. So I think this is our hope, and I do believe Islam will change. Islam cannot stay as it is now. Fundamentalism, extremism has no future. Openness and updating religion is the future. Religion means to have a relationship with God, but maybe more with the others. For Christianity, Jesus was always speaking that whatever you do with my little brothers, that's for me, to me. And also they have to understand that to look for the message, the meaning in religion, and for also a sense for our life, for hope. We are looking for hope. A Muslim should look for hope. And now many of them are questioning about religion. I think with time they have to change this kind and to get out from violence and all kind, of fighting or jihad. What is jihad? Finish. We don't have to speak about jihad. Yesterday I said to 3 sheikhs and 1 imam that please stop. Take a break about jihad now. If you want to change Iraq, to change the world, you have to look for a civilized way, with a diplomatic way, with the dialogue you can change and convince the others. But fighting, no future. You are destroying everything. I think they have to think one day will come.
What can we do? What can we, the benefactors of aid to the church in need, what can we do?
The church in need is doing a lot. Church in need is helping with small projects, for in the villages in Iraq, but also in other countries. I think they are the Good Samaritan. I do believe that, and always I am asking that. But the Good Samaritan is Jesus Christ, in the Gospel. He's the first one. And Christians should think that their brothers and sisters in need and also persecuted, they have to show solidarity, not with statements, but maybe to be very close to them, if possible, to visit or to help, or even to make a march on the street and say, this is wrong, to kill people for their religion or for their ethnicity, or I don't worry, their identity, because every human being is absolute. We have to respect it. And I think in the West, Christians should be much more courageous and not to be a little bit feeble or ashamed about their Christianity. Look, Muslims, why? We have a pearl. Why we are afraid to say that we are Catholic, we are Christians, and we have also to live our faith publicly like the others? Why we are a little bit,
Afraid.
ashamed or timid, much more timid? A Christian should not be timid and afraid. Should be very courageous. And even priests and bishops, the good pastor, has to give up his life. Really, we are consecrated.
Your Beatitude. Thank you very much for the time that you've given us today.
Thank you, Mark. I hope the message is already done.
We pray for this.
Thank you.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having been with us today on our program, Where God Weeps. And if you'd like to know more, or perhaps how you might be able to help through your action, through your prayer, please look at the contact information at the end of this program. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.